I generally don't talk about pre-construction because I've always found the value to be in existing resale condos, but there is a project in Markham right now that I kind of took a look high level. I dug into it some more and it actually makes sense to me. So I'm going to walk you through some of my thought process, the numbers I looked at, and why I think it makes sense. My name is Vas, and I'm a real estate broker right here in the city of Toronto, where I help investors and families navigate the craziness of our real estate market. Now let's get into this project. So if you haven't guessed already, I'm talking about UnionCity in downtown Markham. Now, typically, I don't talk about Precon in general. However, because this is in my own city of Markham, and listen, I am very biased. When it comes to Markham, I think Markham has a fantastic future. I'm very bullish on it, and projects don't really come up that often. So this one came up, the numbers made sense, kind of, and then here we are. I decided to make a video. I'm thinking out loud about the project, so you're kind of watching me live, just analyze the project and see what I think. Let's get into it. So there will be 3 towers, and this is Tower 1, the one that's currently going to be up for sale, and then this is Tower 2, and then lastly Tower 3. Let me move my face here. This is York University. So this is going to be an entrepreneurship / digital tech university / campus. I'm a York alumni. I don't know if I would recommend the school, but that being said, I do have my hopes up for this particular campus. And I think what's really interesting here is the location of this campus. So this would be the first university in the city of Markham, and what I find really interesting is that, as we all know, Markham has some of the top ranked schools in the country. That's elementary and high schools. And I think York University strategically picked Markham and this location because I think if you have a lot of the local populace come and attend the school in the future, so we're basically picking from some of the best and brightest students in the country, effectively York University stands to gain a lot of goodwill and reputation bump, if you will, from this campus alone. Again, this is me speculating about the future, but I honestly think this is very plausible. I've seen I'm involved in my own community. I see the kids, I see how bright everyone is, and I think this will be great for York. I think York actually stands to gain a lot more from the people of Markham than Markham does from the school itself. Or maybe, you know what, it's mutually beneficial, I guess, because we're getting a university. So it's probably mutually beneficial, but I do think York is going to gain a lot here. So anyway, now right here, what you're looking at is actually downtown Markham, the proper downtown Markham, Highway 7. I have a high school right here, and then the GO train is just at the left corner of my screen. Here's a better rendering of the actual area. So York University is right here, Tower 3, Tower 1, and then Tower 2. And I don't know why they're crooked here, but it is what it is. GO train right across the street, YMCA also right across the street, and you have the GO train right here. Now the cheaper units are going to be north facing, so I'm assuming they're going to be facing the GO train track. Now the good thing about GO train in general, in my experience, the GO train is actually pretty quiet when it's rolling along. It's nothing like industrial rail carts or via rail even. So the GO train's pretty quiet. The only time you'll hear it is when they're blowing their sirens, for example, at a crossing, which I don't think they're doing here. Also, it doesn't run at night, so it's not going to be an issue. Now, here's the fast facts. We're not going to get into this too much. Obviously, we'll have a pretty good deposit structure right here. And here are the prices. So the cheapest 1 bed, 1 bath is 441 square feet with a balcony facing north, and it starts in the mid 500s. I'm assuming these 1 bedrooms are going to be the one that everybody's going to want. The key thing to remember here is that you cannot get parking unless you're buying a suite that's over 548 square feet or larger at the podium, and tower suites have to be 605 square feet and larger. So for a Markham condo, I would lean to say you definitely need parking. You want it. I think this campus, while it's going to be a bunch of locals, parking is going to be a premium. So you're actually going to make money on parking as well. And I think for resale, it's going to help greatly. This is a really great floor plan. You have windows in both the living area and the bedroom. We don't know if this is how they're going to be once they launch, but for a draft, it's pretty good at 441 square feet. Here's some additional ones. I'm not going to break these down. For the most part, they actually look pretty decent. Here's your deposit structure. Obviously, it's very attractive. Based on what I'm hearing already, this thing is way oversubscribed. There's a lot of interest, and this is probably part of why. So development charges are capped at 10 grand, and parking is 70,000. EV parking is available at 80. At $1,200 per square foot, I think this one, relative to other projects, makes a little bit more sense. I still don't like the fact that Precon costs so much more than resale, but here we are. The key thing here is you have your anchor subject site, which is York University, because obviously these buildings are immediately going to benefit from the school being right there. Now, I did wonder how these things will do in terms of rent, so I decided to just look at some high-level stats. So right now, downtown Markham is trading at about, call it $1,000 a square foot, and the rent price per square foot is $3.46. Now, I want to compare this to two other areas just to see how this performs relatively speaking, because we're likely going to see similar things with this project, maybe a little bit better because of proximity to York University, but we don't know. Bayview Village trading at about 1,001 per square foot, with rent being $388 per square foot. And then you have Bay Corridor, which is my favorite place. If you're buying a unit as a rental, I own here. So cost per square foot is $1,174, and then your rent is $442 per square foot. So how do these stack up? Well, downtown Markham on this sort of metric is the least or the worst performer. Bayview Village has always been doing well. Even around Fairview Mall was actually one of the hottest areas in terms of returns for rent pre-COVID. Since COVID, it's obviously changed. And Bay Corridor for me is always kind of like the benchmark. Now, all of that being said, downtown Markham lags here. However, the difference is that this is existing resale. If we were to plot the existing asking prices for pre-construction in these areas, downtown Markham at $1,200 a square foot absolutely crushes Bayview Village and Bay Corridor. I think in Bayview Village right now, is from what I remember, I can't remember which project it was, but for them to break ground, they would need to see, I think, $1,500 per square foot in Bayview Village in order for them to do Precon. Bay Corridor, forget about it. We're probably talking well over $1,500 per square foot. For them to break ground. So at $1,200 in downtown Markham for a pre-construction site relative to the rents you're getting, downtown Markham probably makes the most sense. Now, that is not to say this project is the one. However, it is interesting to me because it's the first one that actually came up and made some sense to me. The one interesting thing is that we're already hearing that this thing is well oversubscribed and it's likely going to sell out extremely quickly. So if you're interested, make sure you're talking to your platinum broker ASAP, because getting an allocation might be a challenge.